Welcome to MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next. If you're not too careful, you just might learn something.
Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of MacGyver's Workshop, where you never know what we're going to be working on next, and if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Now, here's something you can learn today. You ever wonder what $1,490 worth of cast iron looks like? I'll show you. It's right here. And that's the rear transmission case for this here tractor that we're working on. And it's a good testament, and I'm sure that the tractor's owner will agree with me, to always making sure you check your implements before you use them, and make sure that the PTO drive shaft that you're using to drive said implement is the correct length, because in some cases the hydraulics for lifting that implement are going to be stronger than that $1,490 piece of cast iron, and which is exactly what happened to our friend here. She had a rototiller attachment hooked up to the back of this thing, and it's driven off the power takeoff in the back of the tractor off the 3-point hitch. And not sure of all the details on it, but long and short of it is, pun intended, she lifted up the tiller and, not thinking, took the lift up all the way. And as you pick your implement up, if it has a PTO shaft on it, it gets shorter. And PTO shafts slide in and out, within a certain range. And, different implements have different size PTO shafts. And what's important is that you have to check it to make sure that you can both, it's long enough, it extends long enough that you can set the implement all the way down without it flopping around or falling apart, and that you can pick it up all the way without compressing it all the way to the stop and then still having a little more ways to go on your lift, because, as I said, the hydraulics can overpower it and punch your PTO shaft right through the cast iron case, which is what happened here. So we're about to get started here and tear this thing down. So stay tuned and watch, and like I say, you never know, you might learn something. I'm doing this for the benefit of the owner so she can see what all is involved in this. And unfortunately, when you have a tractor like this, you don't really have much of a choice. You have to fix it, because you can't necessarily just go out and buy a new tractor, because they're like ridiculously expensive, even used. So we were lucky, because this tractor is like a 1994 model, and while you can get most parts for it still, castings, they quit making those a long time ago, and they're no longer available in, you can't, there's a part number for them, but they're long gone. They don't make them anymore. And we were lucky. My local New Holland dealer knew some Himalayan Yoda living on a yurt in the Himalayas somewhere with a tractor junkyard that had a good used case for a Ford 1715 New Holland. And, we were able to get it, so she was lucky. Alright, now it's time to take all the guts out of this case and put them in that new case. It helps if you're good at jigsaw puzzles. So we're pretty much going to have to work our way from the top down to get everything out of here. And we're just going to have to lay it out real nice and where we can keep track of it. And again, it helps to have the shop manual so you can refer to the exploded view diagrams if you have to, if you lose your way. So, and I'll get the phone and get some inside pictures here a little bit, inside shots, so you can see all the tractor guts. Voila. Now I'm going to keep this in the same orientation so I know that which way the bearing's going. Probably doesn't matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. See, with that bearing out of the way, we can finagle that shaft out through the top here. What we'll do, put all our stuff back on here like so. And then we'll have our shaft laid over here. We'll remember where that goes. Let's see. Yeah, this is the pinion. You got, that's a little bit more challenging. Yeah. Play heck. That spring-loaded D10 in there, but you know what? We're just going to have to deal with it. Because there's no other way that's going to come out of there. Hear that click? That was the little ball and spring in there. Well, you can see that ball and spring in there. I'm holding it with my finger so it doesn't go flying off into a parallel dimension, but there's a hole up here. You can see that. When I go to put this thing back together, I want to have to use a punch and push down on that ball and spring so I can get that shaft over it again, and then that detent hits on these little grooves here. So I want to be real careful with this. We don't want to lose this little ball and spring or we'll be hurting. Alright, so now we got that out of the way. Looks like the next thing we got to do is get our differential lock out of here. So we're going to have to take off some springs here, which are a good little bit of tension. Roll pin out of here. That's going to be fun. So all attempts at diplomacy have failed. So now we're going to have to break out the punch. Now I'll take the ring gear out, or differential carrier, however you want to call it. Have to take this retainer plate out on each side. Now we can slide the mounting cups out, and the ring gear and the differential will slide right up out of the middle. Now there's going to be a bunch of shims in here. You want to make sure, keep them all together, and know which side they go on, because that's what's centering your ring gear, lining your ring gear and pinion up. Gotta be careful with that. Yep. And make sure you remember which one goes where. And there we go. Ring gear and differential mount thusly. Well, we did get one chipped tooth on this ring gear when that all hell broke loose inside there, but I think it'll be okay. Now we can go after our pinion. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. Alright, now we're down to the part where the PTO fork is. I drive out a whole bunch of roll pins, and then that's our busted. It's a shifter fork basically for the PTO drive. We have to get that out. Put this in the to-go bucket for my owner. And we've got our detent spring we got to get out of here. That's going to be fun. Careful, catch that one, because when it comes out of there, it's going to come out of there in a hurry. There's your little detent ball and spring. We got our one lever out of here, and now we got this one. Now this one took heat. We had to heat it up to get it off. We're gonna have to do this one the same way. Well, that was half the fun, getting all the guts out of there. And there's all the body parts, the carnage. That's what's left of the bearing, and this is part of the casting that broke. Some more of the casting. Here you can see where it got, let's see if I can hold this right. You can see where it got pushed against and bent the casting and rubbed against the shaft and finally busted everything up. Anyway, that's it for that. Now let's take this old case down and bring the new one up, start dumping all the parts in. All right. I got my new case up here. I just need to go ahead and put the gotta knock the pinion bearing braces out of here, and I got one bearing I gotta take out down here to the left end. Then we'll be ready to start installing all our guts back into the case. So we will get started here. Had to go dump my SD card. Poor thing got filled up before I knew it. No. There's a new shift fork. There's an old broke one. There's a new one in here. This will be our new bearing. Replace the one that got all munched up there on the end of the PTO output shaft. Well, it's Saturday morning. I didn't make my goal of I wanted to be able to deliver the tractor this morning, but unfortunately, my one important part that I was waiting on, I wasn't able to get my hands on until yesterday or Friday afternoon. So, despite working till the wee hours, I still didn't quite make it. But I did get the whole case together. So, from here this morning, it's just a matter of reassembling the tractor. So we're not, it's not totally terrible. I'm not going to complain. So let's get going here and get this thing back together. Alright, now one thing you want to make sure you do before you mate the halves back together is, of course, clean the back half off real good of the front side of the tractor, and then run you a small bead of RTV around the face of the case here. Make sure we don't have any gear oil leaks when we put this thing back together. And maybe we'll hear the skadunk of success. She went in. It's the sound that a transmission or something makes when you're having to line 3 or 4 things up at once to get it to come together, and all of a sudden it comes together and it goes skadunk. That's the skadunk of success. And you want to make sure you draw this thing up nice and even, because it's going to, you're lining up on 3 different shafts, 2 dowel pins, and so as you're drawing it tight after you've had your skadunk of success, you want to make sure you alternate around the bolts and draw it up nice and even. Use cast iron, you don't want to crack it. Once you see your RTV stop squishing out, then you know you're made it all the way together, and then you can snug it to your torque. I still got some coming out here. There we go. Now it's time to start bolting the axle housings up. And same thing, we'll have to run a little bead of sealer on them, and then draw them up even and tighten them up. That'll be it for that. Perfect. Downhill side here towards the home stretch. My paint is drying on some of the little bits and parts over here that I got to put back on. So while that's happening, we're going to go ahead and weld up some cracks in this muffler. And normally they're usually too rusted out to weld, but this one here is in pretty good shape, and I guess you run it under a tree limb or something and bopped it, and now it's got a leak under there, so we're going to fix that. All right, so tractor's all done, ready to rock and roll. Everything's good, PTO is working, flux capacitor is fluxing, and we fixed a few other things too while we were at it. The muffler was leaking where she hit a tree limb or something. We fixed that. Also noticed, that wasn't exactly on the list, but did it anyway since I was right in there putting the fenders on. The lights weren't working in the back, so we fixed up all the bad connections there and got that working. And of course, this is the old transmission case, or axle case, differential case, whatever you want to call it. And I prepared the owner a little bag of souvenirs of all the carnage bits that were in the case. So, and of course she's already got pictures of the damage in the case itself, and I'm going to take the case to her, let her have a look at it when we deliver the tractor in the morning. So anyhow, that's it for this episode, and appreciate y'all watching, and please subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell, and so you'll be notified anytime we post a video. And feel free to comment. Always happy to hear what y'all have to say. And you can also email me at MacGyversWorkshop@gmail.com. And you know, usually I can get back to you pretty quick. Some of them get hung up in the I don't know, they get hung up for review or something. I didn't know that. So there were some viewers out there who made comments that were there for like a year or 2 years ago, and I do apologize for that. But anyhow, you know, this is classic case of you never know what we're going to be working on next, and you know, hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching. See you next time.